If we could just take a few minutes to look through the fog of worry around COVID-19, we're very excited about the prospects of the health sector as a growth asset for investors. If you want doom and gloom, go watch the news. We're trying to look at the positives, and when we look at the past, present and future of healthcare stocks, all we see is a road paved with success.
Let's look at the past. Healthcare has outperformed the average of world stocks since 2005 by quite some margin. Looking at the present, health companies the world over are scrambling around trying to invent the next great vaccine to save us all from the grip of the evil coronavirus. You can bet that the stocks of the companies at the forefront of that miracle development will see lofty new heights.
But as long-term investors, it's the future that we really care about. We think healthcare is going places. Here's why.
Welcome to Unshackled.com, the investment and finance channel and website that sets you and your finances free.
That was Andy and I'm Ben, and if you like what we say, hit the like button and click subscribe. This video is sponsored by Stake, an exciting new investment app specializing in US stocks. It has over 3,500 US stocks available, so all the US healthcare giants are on there, like Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, United Health, Merck, Amgen and many more.
Every investor needs to be invested in US and US healthcare companies due to the enormous influence that they exert around the world, and we think a great way to invest in US companies is via a specialist platform like Stake. Stake has commission-free trading, trades are executed in real time and is FCA regulated with FSCS protection. Plus Stake offers fractional investing, allowing you to buy any dollar amount of any share. Awesome.
For a limited time, Stake are giving away a free US stock worth up to $100 when you sign up via our link. We'll put the link to our offers page in the description below, so be sure to check that out. Now, let's get into the video. Healthcare right now. The US will soon spend 20% of its gross domestic product on healthcare. This comes as the cost of healthcare outstrips the rise in the rate in inflation. While keeping an eye on the long term, sharp-eyed investors might be able to win big by eyeing key healthcare stocks. Headlines abound for pharma and biotech stocks with cutting-edge medicines.
But healthcare stocks comprise a broader range of medical companies, many of which are rising above the rest amid the coronavirus pandemic. Many of these healthcare stocks share several commonalities: a streak of bullish earnings growth, as well as a good 12-month performance compared against all other stocks.
Healthcare, the future's bright. By this we mean both for the healthcare industry and for the human race. The two are intertwined. Let's quickly look at the 5 reasons to be hopeful for the future of the sector.
Number 1, aging population. It's almost a fact, and is at least generally accepted, that the average age of humans the world over will continue to climb upwards. This is largely due to the healthcare industry. Old people and healthcare companies benefiting each other in a kind of symbiotic relationship. As medicines get better, people live longer. As people live longer, there is more demand for medicine, and the healthcare companies get bigger and better.
Number 2, social changes. The world is more connected than ever. Maybe one reason why viruses spread so terribly, but it also gives us historically advantageous access to medicines and research from other countries. Right now, we can see countries the world over coming together to develop treatments for the coronavirus. Research can easily be shared online between nations, hopefully leading to faster medical advancement for everyone.
Number 3, wealthier population. As you, our audience, become wealthier, won't you be more willing to pay for private healthcare and cutting-edge medicines? We would, and this is what we see happening the world over. As people get more disposable income, they can pay for better medicines.
Even in countries that used to be called the third world, small increases to personal wealth, from nothing to something, has meant people can afford to buy basic medicines. This leads to more cash sloshing around in the research and development departments of big pharmaceutical companies, which leads to the development of new drugs and eventually benefits everyone.
Number 4, attitude to death. In World War I, generals would send wave after wave of their own men to die pointlessly in no man's land. Flash forward to World War II, and life was still viewed by many as largely disposable by today's standards.
But as time moved on towards the 21st century, life was seen as more and more important, up to today, where the loss of a single life is seen as deplorable. Look at the response to coronavirus. World governments now sacrifice their economies in order to save relatively few lives, compared to the 40 million people who were sacrificed in World War I to move Field Marshal Haig's drinks cabinet 6 inches closer to Berlin. In any case, the 21st century attitude is good for life and good for the healthcare companies.
Number 5, bringing R&D home. The 2020 virus crisis highlighted the deficiencies in many nation-states' infrastructure to produce their own medicines, vaccines and personal protection equipment. The UK, for instance, is woefully underprepared with its existing medical research facilities to mass produce a vaccine. We have the scientists, the healthcare system, but not yet the scale of production facilities to respond appropriately in time of a crisis.
A trial UK vaccine was reported by Sky News in April 2020 as having to rely on several manufacturers abroad in order to eventually be able to produce enough of it. As we move forward over the years, we predict that countries the world over will up their game with internal investment into their own healthcare industry. More funding, more growth, better investment.
Healthcare as a defensive play. Healthcare is a defensive industry in the sense that people are always going to need medical care and medicines. What we think we found in healthcare is an opportunity to invest in a defensive sector, which we also think will explode to new highs in the coming years.
Some interesting stocks. We personally buy ETFs, exchange traded funds, as the core of our portfolios, but we must admit to being tempted by a few individual healthcare stocks.
Quidel is among the fastest growing stocks. This healthcare stock sells tests that can detect the viruses that lead to influenza, chickenpox, shingles and others. They also make a CE mark authorised test that can detect SARS-CoV-2, the virus that leads to COVID-19, authorised for sale in the US, Europe and Canada.
Notably, Quidel also ranks 25 on the IBD 50 list of elite growth stocks. With 1 being the lowest possible score and 99 the highest, Quidel has an earnings per share rating of 95. This means its earnings per share is in the top 5% of all US companies, according to these respected investment analysts. And they give it a relative strength rating, which tracks the performance of this stock against all other stocks over the previous 12 months, of 98. Quidel can be bought on the Stake app. We've not seen it on any of the other free trading platforms.
Vertex is a healthcare stock that treats cystic fibrosis and is available on many of the free investing platforms. This healthcare stock is among 5 biotech companies with perfect composite ratings of 99 as ranked by IBD Digital. That's top 5 out of 600 biotech stocks in the industry subgroup.
The IBD composite rating looks at several key performance indicators, including relative strength and earnings per share. So a score of 99 is out of this world. Remember to do your own research before you invest in any stocks.
Investing in the global healthcare industry. MSCI World Healthcare Index is designed to capture the performance of 144 large and mid-cap constituents across 23 developed market countries. 68% of the index is actually made up of US listed companies, as this is where most of the big pharma and healthcare giant companies are listed. The next highest component being Switzerland at just 9%. So investing directly into US companies does get you a good chunk of the industry.
Here's the top 10 holdings in the index. 7 are US companies. All are massive, with market caps measured in the hundreds of billions of dollars, and make up nearly 37% of the entire index. These are the big boys that represent the bulk of the world healthcare market and are the ones that we desperately want in our portfolios. Ideally, we want to invest directly into this index so that we can get a slice of all of the large and medium-sized healthcare companies across the world. Here's how we would do that.
Investing in global healthcare. One of our favourite ETFs tracking the healthcare industry is the SPDR MSCI World Healthcare ETF. Traded on the London Stock Exchange, this is an accumulating fund that tracks the MSCI World Healthcare Index that we were just talking about. It has an ongoing charges figure of 0.3%.
How you choose to invest in healthcare is your prerogative, but we think that everyone should have at least some of this fantastic sector in their own portfolio.
Thanks for watching. On this channel we talk a lot about personal finance, investing and all things money. And if you want to see more great content, please click the subscribe button below.
This is MoneyUnshackled.com. See you next time.